the first time any gangs in Los Angeles have been indicted for sex trafficking. You know, individuals may have been, but not
a gang,
not a group of people from a hood in LA. First time where sex trafficking is part of the RICO. So I got my hands.
Kind of cliche though, because they hood is like it's a track Fig. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and and this should be a warning to all the other hoods that are off of Fig that are involved in the same activity. They coming. That's all I'll say. And I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish that on any set or any individuals. But the reality is, if you don't get off the streets right now, they're coming. And that's just my message to all the boys and girls out there. Don't join gangs. If you're in a gang, fall back unless you don't mind going to prison or jail or the county jail, the feds.
Facts.
But they're coming. In today's day and age, with the technology that the police have, with the cameras that are all over the place, with the all our phone calls are being recorded, all our DMs are being saved. You think, oh, let me talk to this person using FaceTime DM. I've seen so many cases where people are talking about criminal activity using Facebook DM, thinking that, oh, okay, it ain't gonna get tapped. But then all they do is subpoena all of the Facebook DMs, and they're right there for us to see.
Hey, look, I got a homie. I ain't gonna say his name, but he on social media. He got an Instagram with no post. All he do is watch, and he posts like memes on his story because his whole case was surrounded around social media. He know damn well they can check your DMs, and he just like he kind of Spooky Johnson of participating in social media. So he got followers. He follow people. Zero posts, and all he do is post memes on his story, bro.
Yeah,
like they what you put in your DM is not a secret. Your close friends, it ain't just close friends or whatever you think it is. So just to let people know.
I think one of the only things that might protect you is using something like Signal as a.
I don't know what that is.
It's an app for text.
Well, don't give up the game, then. let it stay private.
Well, I'll say this: there's a few apps that are specifically designed that do not save data. They do not save data.
Okay.
Instagram saves your data. Even if you delete it, it saves your data. Facebook, same company, it's owned by Meta, saves your data. Twitter saves your data. YouTube saves all your data.
It's funny about you saying they what by Meta?
Meta owns Instagram and Facebook now.
I got some Meta Ray-Bans on right now. And that's crazy. So if I record some crazy shit on these Meta glasses, shit, I guess they got it, huh?
All right, so we got the United States of America versus 11 folks. Amaya Armstead is the lead defendant. Hey, here's another thing. It's the first time I've ever seen a female as the lead defendant in a federal indictment when there's a whole bunch of other men.
What about the girl, the drug queen pin?
Well,
Blanco lady.
Is she from LA?
No.
Okay, I'm not. I'm just.
I don't know where she's from.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But in terms of all the LA cases, and I got at least, this is. I've read over 100 of these. Mm-hmm. Amaya Armstead, aka Lady Duck, Keandre Young, aka Young Poke. This ain't the same Young Poke that we know from rapping.
No.
Okay. Naziz Harris, and this is funny. They got their AKAs off of their social media. So this person, Naziz Harris, they put his Instagram AKA Rich Off the Bitch, AKA, and then his name is N4. His street name is N4. Then they got N4 Presidential. They got 3 AKAs for him. Avery Amoaka, AKA Hands, AKA Hands Secure Payments. Jared Evans, AKA J Money. Matthew Brooks, AKA Buddha, AKA Vermont Star.
Hold on. What the last one?
Matthew Brooks, Buddha, and Vermont Star.
Okay.
Then we got one that we all know and love from the Baby Stone Gorillas. That's Darrell Robinson, P4K, a.k.a. Popcorn. Jalon Phillips, a.k.a. Waymo, Paymo, Chop'em, and Waylon. Brian Isrel, Isrel. Brian Isrel, a.k.a. Folok. I'm reading it like a white person for a second. Forlock. No, it's Forloke. Figafo and Notorious FIG. Oh, that's a nice one now. Notorious FIG. He's definitely from Hoover with that name. And then Tahan Gray, a.k.a. Tiny 3. And the last defendant on this case is Tommy Crockham. No, I'm sorry. Tommy Crockham or Crockham, a.k.a. Tommy Guns. All right, so Amaya Armstead, known as Lady Duck. Okay, the first paragraph just identifies them. Others known and unknown to the grand jury were members and associates of an organization known as the Hoovers. We know that not to be true. We know about half of them are really Hoovers. A couple of them aren't Hoovers at all, but I guess they're associates if they're engaged in activity. The Hoovers are an criminal organization, gang engaged in illegal activities, but not limited to sex trafficking of minors, sex trafficking through force, fraud, coercion, narcotics, money laundering, assaults, robberies, kidnappings, and other crimes. The Hoovers operated in the Central District of California and elsewhere. The Hoovers organizations, including its leaders, members, and associates, constitute an enterprise as defined by Title 18 of the United States Code. Cash App is a licensed money service business, which is a financial institution pursuant to 31 U.S.C., which is engaged in or the activities of which affect interstate or foreign commerce. So they're basically saying, look, they got all the Cash App data. I know for a fact because Cash App has got to adhere to the same laws that banks adhere to. They're saving all your data. You cannot even delete anything you do in Cash App. That's being saved forever. So obviously they subpoenaed all the Cash App records and got all the money transfers. Background of the racketeering exercise. I ain't going to read this whole thing. It's 155 pages. Link to the entire indictment will be in the description or in the show notes of this podcast. But the Hoovers were a criminal street gang, and if you want me to stop at any point, Munchie, just tell me to stop. The Hoovers were a criminal street organization formed in the late 70s that later became part of the larger West Side Crips. They eventually split into two factions, the Gangster Crips and the Neighborhood Crips, and the Hoovers aligned themselves with the Gangster Crips. All right, they're going to give a whole history here. They always get the history wrong.
Hoovers, they said late 70s?
Did it say late 70s? Yeah, no, the Hoovers actually were, I'll say 69, 70.
Yeah, they said late 70s.
Yeah, the history part is always incorrect.
They gang department is bunk.
Yeah, so paragraph 5. At the time of this indictment, all the Hoover sets, except for the Five Deuces, claim allegiance to the Hoover criminal gangsters. Paragraph 6. The Hoovers had many rivals, including but not limited to the 30s, 40s, 60s, 90s, Hunnits, 5-7 Neighborhood Crips, Menlos, 102 Budlong. All right, we know all their rivals. The Hoovers have approximately 1,800 members. The Hoovers claim a territory in the city of L.A., bounded by Vernon to the north, Imperial to the south, 110 to the east, and Vermont to the west. That's not 100% true because there's a couple of sets in there, like the Menlos, that are sprinkled within this whole little section. All right, so they give you the geography of the Hoovers, the sets of the Hoovers. They got some photos of graffiti. They got in paragraph 9, they break down the clothing the Hoover Astros had, the orange. Now they showing more photos. These are all photos taken directly from social media. They got all of these social media photos in the indictment. Paragraph 14, to further demonstrate their membership and allegiance to the Hoover enterprise, members would often refer to each other as Groove or Groover, as homage to the gang's origins. More background and history. Let's get to the actual offenses. Paragraph 20. Hoovers largely controlled sex trafficking and prostitution in the Figueroa corridor. Members and associates of the enterprise act as pimps. To promote and manage sex trafficking, pimps exploited commercial sex acts of victim sex workers, including minors, for the pimp's own personal gain and on behalf of the enterprise. Okay, so they're going into what pimps do. And we're going to scroll down to paragraph 23. To start working for a pimp, a victim was required to pay a choosing fee. That is a payment for the privilege to work for that pimp. Victims were taught that once they choose a pimp, they were not permitted to speak to or even look at other pimps, and they would face grave consequences for violating this rule. Similarly, if a victim attempted to leave her pimp, she was required to pay an exit fee or face grave consequences. That's paragraph 23. The first thing it makes me think about is when your homeboy, former pimp, Perrion talked about how one pimp could break another girl and get her away from another pimp, and it happens all the time. Every pimp has lost a chick or two.
Every pimp has been knocked off by another pimp.
But this paragraph says you ain't supposed to do that, and there's grave consequences for doing that, but happens all the time.
The homie Perrion, which is a former pimp these days, he said he knocked Sharp for a couple bitches before. back in them days.
All right. Paragraph 24. Generally, if a person who was not a Hoover wanted to engage in pimping or sex trafficking activities in Hoover's territory, including the Figueroa corridor, they were required to be in good standing with the Hoovers or to have Hoover's permission to do so. If a non-Hoover pimp sex trafficked in Hoover's territory without the Hoover's authority to do so, that pimp would be risked of being robbed and assaulted by Hoover pimps. This is funny. They're saying Hoover pimps, having his sex worker robbed and assaulted by Hoover pimps, or having his sex worker knocked. Hey, they used the word. Having his sex worker knocked, meaning recruited away from him to work for a Hoover or a Hoover associate pimp. So there you go. In the next paragraph, they use the correct term, knocked, which is what paragraph 23 talked about. All right, I'm going to scroll down here. Paragraph 26. Hoovers also continually engage in distributing controlled substances, including oxycodone, promethazine, codene, benzodiazepine, alzapropone, and fentanyl. Hoovers often referred to promethazine with codene as TRIS, T-R-I-S, shorthand for Tris Pharma, Inc., the pharmaceutical company that manufactured promethazine with codene. They often refer to oxycodone pills as Perks or Yerks, which are also shorthand for Percocet, a brand name for oxycodone pills. Hoovers illegally diverted pharmaceutical drugs by recruiting fake patients to obtain and fill prescriptions for highly sought-after controlled pharmaceuticals. All right, so I'm going to scroll down here to paragraph 28. Hoovers were known to utilize Cash App and Apple Pay. This is where everything you do digitally is going to be saved and will be used against you. They use this as a means of receiving and transferring criminal proceeds. The vanity names of these financial accounts often referenced a Hoover's member's moniker. Oh my goodness. They use their real monikers to transfer money, allegedly, from account to account. Hoovers often directed their sex trafficking victims to deposit the proceeds of their sex work into the Hoover member's Cash App account. The Hoover's members would then use these proceeds to further promote their criminal activities, such as arranging Uber rides for sex trafficking victims, procuring hotel rooms, and paying for food and condoms. Sometimes enterprise members directed sex workers to send Cash App payments to a different enterprise member, who then funneled the money to the intended recipient to layer illegal proceeds transactions and frustrate efforts to trace victims' proceeds to their pimp. All right, so that's just page 15 of this indictment. It goes 155 pages. On page 17, they got a picture of P4, and they're alleging, here it says, many enterprise members identified as rappers and produced rap music and videos. These songs and videos often glorified the Hoovers and pimping lifestyles, narcotic sales, firearm possession, thereby elevating the reputation of the enterprise. Some enterprise members did not claim the Hoover's name, but participated in and contributed to the enterprise, including putting in work which involved criminal activities, including shooting and assaulting enemies of Hoovers, committing robberies, obtaining firearms, distributing drugs, etc., etc. So, and on that page, they showed a picture of P4, which is insane.
So they saying whatever P4 is doing is for the benefit of the Hoovers?
Yeah.
That's cap.
And they saying, I guess they're acknowledging he's not a Hoover, but he's engaged in Hoover activity.
That's cap.
Okay.
See, that's where they fumble at.
Yeah. I mean, every single indictment, when it's first introduced and first unsealed, has a lot of extras in it. It's just what it is. It's up to your lawyer now to start combating all of the, misinformation and the extras. And on page 22 is where the conspiracy is discussed. I'm just going to read a couple more paragraphs of this here. Beginning no later than in or around February 2021 and continuing through August 7th of 2025 within LA County, defendants Armstead, Young, all the defendants named, and others known and unknown to the grand jury, each employed by and associated with Hoover's enterprise and enterprise engaged and the activities which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly and intentionally conspired to violate Title 18 United States Code. That is, to participate directly and indirectly of the affairs of Hoover Enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity as associated Title 18. A pattern of racketeering consisted of dealing controlled substances, robbery, kidnapping, multiple acts indictable under Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 1591. There's a whole bunch of pages of different U.S. title codes. All right, here's the overt acts. These are the overt acts. I haven't read these overt acts yet. There's going to be a bunch of overt acts. I remember reading the Young Thug overt acts indictment. There was 180 overt acts, and like 90 of them was BS. You know, some of them were real, but half of them were BS. So let's just read a few of these overt acts. Overt act number 1. On an unknown date, at least 4 women were branded with tattoos of the defendant Armstead's moniker, Lady Duck. That's considered an overt act. So we got 4 chicks, and they got the pictures of the tattoos. Wow, this one chick tatted her butt on her cheek. Once the left side says lady, the right side says duck. Lady Duck. So that's considered an overt act. Overt act number 2. On an unknown date, at least 2 people were branded with tattoos of the defendant Amooko's moniker, Hands. So 2 photos of these tattoos, hands. So those 2 overt acts aren't illegal. So those are perfectly legal acts. On an unknown date, at least 3 people were branded with tattoos of a symbol wording the defendant Isrel's used to identify him. So they got these 3 photos of his moniker.
What do it say?
The figure way.
Okay.
The figure foe, figure way. So I guess his one of his AKAs was figure something. All right, overt act 4. On February 9th, 2021, while driving a car together, Armstead and Evans possessed with the intent to distribute promethazine, counterfeit oxycodone that in fact contained fentanyl, Xanax, a scale, and more than 9,000 cash. Now that's the first illegal overt act. That's overt act number 4. But let me go back to the beginning of the conspiracy where it says all the people indicted and others known and unknown to the grand jury. The ones that are known that are not named, you know who those are, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that are telling. Mm-hmm. The ones that are known and unknown. So the ones that are known that are not named are telling. So they must have, this overt act number 3, somebody had to provide this
Number
information.
3 was what, with the promethazine?
I'm sorry, overt act number 4. Yeah, on
February, okay.
With the date, February 9th, 2021, Armstead and Evans sold oxycodone.
So a redacted name.
They didn't even put the name. It just says, possessed with the intent to distribute. And a scale and more than 9,000. So that means Armstead and Evans was another person that's unnamed here that provided this information.
Unnamed or it ain't redacted?
It's not even redacted.
Okay,
no.
Yeah, that's a CR.
Yeah. So somebody within the conspiracy between 2021 and 2025.
They was in that car.
Yeah, they was in the car. Because we know Armstead and Evans, they're indicted. They're not.
Right.
Okay, overt act 5. On April 18th, 2021, just like 2 months later, Defendant Isrel physically assaulted his sex worker victim 1 in Vegas, Nevada, striking her with a closed fist in the back of the head. So victim 1 is the one that provided that. Her name is not provided here, not even redacted. So victim 1 is telling. Overt Act 6 on May 16th, 2021, a month after that, a month after Overt Act 5. Using coded messages on Instagram, Defendant Isrel recruited an unidentified female to work for him, boasting that he was building a new stable of women and claiming that he had a problem with one of his previous sex workers. The unidentified female offered to beat up the problematic sex worker, but Defendant Isrel, using coded language, advised that he would catch her and assault her himself. So that's just through subpoenaing, getting all the records from Meta. Isrel, if you did a lot of communicating on Instagram, they got all your messages, even the ones you deleted. So, Overt Act 6, May 31st, 2021, using coded language on Instagram, Defendant Crockham posted a drug advertisement offering to sell oxycodone pills at 30 milligram strength. That's insane, Munchie. You publicly posting, I guess, an image saying, I got the oxy.
Right.
I got the oxy. Hit me up in my DM. And he probably, that's crazy. Using coded language, posted an advertisement. Yeah, so he basically posted, I got the oxy, using coded language. On August 29, 2021, using coded language on Instagram, Defendant Crockham posted a drug advertisement offering to sell promethazine.
Oh, yeah, he using his social media as a storefront.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So some of this stuff, you don't even need a snitch.
Right. Did it to yourself.
Yeah. November 4th, 2021, using coded language on text message, Defendant Amoako ridiculed his unidentified sex worker or sex trafficking victim for thinking that she only needed to pay him one time and warned her to watch her mouth before he breaks her jaw. So that's his own text message. She could have provided that, though.
She did provide it.
Yeah. September 6th, 2021. It doesn't say if she's the same victim one from the previous Overt Act. September 6th, 2021. This is Overt Act 10. Using coded language on TextNow, Defendant Amoako told an unidentified victim he would get her more condoms when she finished using the 3 she had. Over 11, September 26, 2021, using coded language, on Instagram, Defendant Crockham posted a drug advertisement again to sell full prescription pint of promethazine with codeine for $1,400. Hey, Crockham is insane.
Right.
That's insanity.
No, yeah. He crazy on the social media.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there for now. What's your whole reaction to this so far?
Well, the pictures with all the monikers. So I wonder did they get they got that just having a warrant for social media and got it on their own, or did these females get pictures of this tat themselves?
Oh yeah, the tattoos.
Yeah, cause I think these females they cooperating. You know what I'm saying? Of course, and cause them text messages, the women have to get them up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some of these. We definitely have victim one, unidentified, the one that got slapped up in Vegas. She's cooperating.
And then whoever's in the car with Jay Smooth and Lady Duck, that person was in the vehicle.
Well, that's an assumption we're making because it's almost impossible.
Gotta be because no. Yeah, it's an assumption, but I'm saying gotta be in the car because you know the exact the drug, it was a scale, and then you know the approximate amount of money, but they was never caught with this.
So Armstead and Evans knows exactly.
They know who that was in the car.
They know who. What we're saying is someone in the car. I just want to be clear. Overt Act 4 doesn't say a third person was in the car.
No, that's just our assumption.
But it has to be somebody else there.
That was and let's see, because they know who that person was, and I don't believe that was a sex worker. I believe that might have been a Hoover member. That's just my guess. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not fact or anything. But man, that's crazy.
Yeah, you got to know how to read between the lines when you're reading these indictments. Let me read Overt Act 16, May 15, 2022.
16? It go way to 16?
I mean, there's over.
Hold on. But where did you just stop at?
I stopped at 10.
Okay, now you about to skip the 16.
Yeah, I'm skipping the 16.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Overt Act 16, May 5th, 2022. To promote his own reputation as a pimp and elevate his reputation of the Hoovers, Defendant Crockham posted a photograph on Instagram showing him fanning a large amount of money. There's a crown emoji on the photograph indicating that defendant self-identifies as a pimp.
What's his name again?
Crockham's hood name is let me go back to page 1 of this indictment because there's too many people to memorize here. Crockham is the last one. Tommy Guns. That's Tommy Guns.
Yeah, Tommy tripping.
Yeah. But you know, a lot of this it's a trip because if I have old indictments like from let's say I want to say I have some indictments from the late 90s, early 2000. Mm-hmm. There's no social media. So the legwork that the police got to do is much more rigorous.
Way more extensive.
All these feds got to do is sit on the internet and just watch everybody's Instagram. And then once they have probable cause, go to the judge and say, we want a warrant for all of his social media because we really want the deleted stuff that we didn't get to see. The cops can't see the deleted stuff unless they get a warrant that's signed by a judge. And once they do that, it's a wrap. They're getting all your social media. They're getting all your private messages. And so far, this whole indictment is reading social media.
Well, I know for a fact that it's a division, the department of law enforcement that is solely for social media, and they watch social media around the clock. And I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But even to make their job even easier, they don't even have to watch the social media around the clock. They just got to know, all right, we're watching this guy. We're going to write his social media account down, and then we're going to request a warrant from a judge to get everything he posts, everything he deletes, all his DMs, and I'm going to go have dinner and have a cup of coffee. I don't got to watch it no more.
All right, for instance, okay, all right, when they, whatever years it was, they was on a injunction thing in the hood or whatever. They had these lists of all these names or whatever. And then they had, other than that paperwork and some other paperwork, and it say, he rest in peace now, Baby Clayron post drugs, waits for a response, and to woo drugs on the Twitter app, Baby Clayron equal offender. Then it say, Munchie B threatens members of his hood and express how he wants to inflict like, you know what I'm saying? This was like all in paperwork, how they was watching my Twitter, how I was threatening my homies and said what I want to do to them, and you know what I'm saying? This was all it, and they was like, they watch all this shit. And then I was in the county jail one year, 2011. I get a pass to go to OSJ. They call it banks. I come out, boom, they give me a pass. It say medical with a pen. Medical is crossed out. Then it say OSJ written in pen. I'm like, what's this? Then I like just go, when I walk out to the hallway, I look back out the pass again. The sheriff poke his head out the door from the 3400 floor, like, hey, go. So I'm walking, I go to this door. The door's to the right. Then I walk through the door, then you go to a quick left, you go up the stairs. It's real dark. You can't. So when I'm walking up the stairs, it was a police walking down the stairs. But we like about to run. Oh, the mayor. Oh, come on. Then he turn around. I follow him up the stairs. I go in the OSJ office. OSJ is Operation Safe Jail. They over the gangs in the county jail. When I walk in the OSJ office, it's a computer screen, and they on my Facebook and say the mayor. It's me, the picture of me with a red beanie twisted to the side, say IFG on the beanie. It's a picture. They was watching my Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they own there though. That's why if you look at my Facebook, my Instagram, all the people I bump heads with, I don't threaten nobody. I talk shit about them. I'll talk about they bullshit baby mama. If I hit that baby mama, you're a bunk. You never put in work. But I'll never threaten nobody on the internet ever, because I already know what it's made of.
All right, so I wanted to read some overt acts from victim 2, but before we do that, I got a clip. This is hit the media. Los Angeles local news has covered it. Let's play clip number 4.
A disturbing sex trafficking bust. Several suspected gang members arrested, accused of forcing young girls into prostitution. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being with us. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. I'm Marla Tejas.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Devine. Federal prosecutors here in LA say this is the first major takedown of a sex trafficking operation on that infamous Figueroa Street.
Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards spoke to the acting top prosecutor in our area about this bust, and she's live in Westwood tonight. Chelsea?
Yeah, well, this was a big bust. We're talking 11 alleged gang members, including 6 leaders of the Hoover criminal street gang, now indicted on these really disturbing charges. Take a look at some video. These are images that were mentioned in the indictment, things that they posted to social media. Prosecutors say the gang recruited girls as young as 14 years old, many of them runaways or kids from the foster care system. Federal officials say those victims were regularly raped and drugged, all while being forced into prostitution. The alleged ringleader, a 25-year-old woman named Amaya Armstead, who goes by Lady Duck. Prosecutors say she and her co-defendants acted as pimps, using social media to recruit vulnerable teens and young adults, then controlling them through violence, drugs, and intimidation. According to the indictment, victims who disobeyed were assaulted, humiliated, they were denied food or drugs, and in some cases, branded with tattoos of their traffickers' street names.
I mean, these guys were prolific. They were the ones recruiting these young women and children. They're ones out there selling them. They were out there enforcing by beating up these women and drugging them and raping them. And so today we're getting the worst of the worst people off the street, and there should be an impact on the community very quickly.
Federal prosecutors say the group controlled sex trafficking along a 3.5-mile section of Figueroa Street in South LA, known as the Figueroa Corridor, and they've been in control from February of 2021 until now. Tonight, we sat down with Lori Burns, a survivor who was trafficked into prostitution out of the foster care system as well. She has now made it her life's mission to save victims like the ones from this case, founding the Teen Project, which provides wraparound services to foster and at-risk young women. She believes the system is broken for everybody involved.
I am very sold on hurt people because I see the girls, I know the stories of the men that have taken them, and it's all a failed system. It's all going to go back to the broken system because a lot of the kids that you see on the street that were gang members were in the system themselves, whether they were in juvenile hall, group homes, or foster homes. They were in that broken system and they came out unhealed, unhelped.
Now, 5 of those suspects pleaded not guilty today, and the trial has now been set for early October. And if convicted as charged, some could be facing life in prison. Reporting live from Westwood, I'm Chelsea Edwards, Fox 11 News.
Chelsea, I'm looking at those photos there, thinking of the industry of sex trafficking, and these suspects all seem fairly young.
Yeah, a lot of them, most of them, I would say in their early 20s, very young. And the ringleader, just 25 years old, and a woman as well. Experts say they often use women that are in the system themselves. They use them to get these younger girls to trust them before bringing them in to the same system that they're in. It's a horrible cycle.
Yeah, just a sick industry. About the victims, do we have any idea how many there are, and are they all from the Southern California area?
Those are questions that were not answered today. Today, the focus was on the indictment and getting these people off the streets and into federal custody. So, no, we're waiting on details on where they are now and how they're doing.
All right. Glad we're bringing this to light, and good work by agents for sure. Okay, Chelsea, thanks so much.
That was a story from the local news. What did you think of that language from the news story?
Yeah, I don't like that verbiage. Multiple leaders. I don't like they say leader to make it seem more, you know what I'm saying, more serious than what things is. I'm not saying that child trafficking ain't a serious matter, but who said these people are leaders? who said that?
Yeah. Well, it says here.
And then anytime, and that's what I'm saying. This like a touchy subject because you don't ever want to seem like you condoning in this, right? But if somebody come, they say they come with a choosing fee, like they have to pay you to be down with you. How is it forced?
It doesn't matter if it's forced or not.
But that's the words they use, though.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. But you know.
But I think legally, if someone's underage.
No, underage that's all the way out, period. Yeah, so I'm just taking the underage thing out of it. But when they talk about prostitution, period, they trying to lay it out how the pimping and horn thing go. You know, you have a pimp, and then the hoe, she give you money if she want to be down with you, and then you need an exit fee. How are you forced to do anything if you paying to do it?
All right, so here's where it comes to age of consent. The feds have it at 18. California has it at 18. But in certain states,
16.
These women wouldn't even be considered minors.
So how do we go fed if that's the case?
Because the fed age is 18. But you know, most US states have it at 16, and they're alleging that these girls, quote unquote victims, are 16 and 17 years old.
I don't think the Fed should have jurisdiction over that if majority of the states, because it's less than 30. It's majority of the states you legal at 16.
Yeah,
we the minority with 18. I don't think the Fed should even have jurisdiction over when it kind of dealing with minors and that, because majority of the United States say you an adult at 16.
All right. Well, let me read victim 2, unnamed. When you get to Overt Act 25, it says Defendant Amoako trafficked victim number 2 from 2022 to 2023. So Overt Act 25 is on April 6, 2022, encoded text message. Defendant Amoako threatened victim 2. his sex trafficking victim, that he was watching her and that she better stay alert in the car where he saw her sitting. And then Overt Act 26, for same under victim 2, on July 14th, 2022, using coded text message, Defendant Amoako threatened victim 2, "I'ma fracture every bone in your face," quote unquote. Then he shifted to guilting her, asking, "You really gonna leave daddy in this cold world, knowing you all I got," quote unquote. Defendant Amoako also claimed that he elevated victim 2 every day. When Defendant Amoako did not receive his desired responses, he shifted back to threats, swearing on Hoover that he would remember this and adding, "Fuck yo bitch, die out here on the blade, and hope a trick rape and kill you, leave you on the side of the freeway," quote unquote. He also threatened to kick down victim number 2's mother's door and noted the apartment number to show he knew where mama lived. When victim 2 said she would go to the police, Defendant Amoako threatened to have her assaulted for snitching and vowed he would wire her jaw shut. He further threatened, "Yeah, better watch your dates, might be your last one." So that's a whole nother victim, separate from victim number 2. That's victim 2.
Yeah, so clearly the victims is giving up their phones and letting the police see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you get to Overt Act number 30, we get to victim number 3. Between December 1,
This all the Amoako victims?
this one is Isrel. Isrel is victim number 3.
So these victims ain't to the same person?
No.
Okay.
December 1, 2022 to February 17th, 2025, Defendant Isrel trafficked adult victim 3. So this is not a minor. It doesn't state if victim number 2 is adult or minor. It just says victim number 2. But victim number 3 is clearly an adult under Isrel, and he sex trafficked her through threats or force, fraud, or coercion. Overt Act 31 on May 9th, 2023 in Vegas, victim 3 got into her car as she was attempting to leave Defendant Isrel. He threw a large alcohol bottle through her rear passenger window. Overt Act 32 on November 17, 2023, using coded message on Instagram, Defendant Isrel directed victim 3 to rob a John in Vegas. Victim 3 informed Defendant Isrel that the John had a Rolex watch. She said that she would also take $1,750 in chips, $2,800 in cash, and $450 in Apple Pay. Victim 3 confirmed that the John took the watch off and she got it. So that's victim 3. All overt acts up to, all the overt acts up to 40, I'm going to say up to 46, all involve victim 3 and Isrel. And let's see, victim number 4 starts at Overt Act 47 under Defendant Evans. Evans trafficked victim 4 through threats, force, and intimidation. That's number Overt Act 47. And then Overt Act 48. On an unknown date, victim 4 was branded with tattoo J $. In reference to Defendant Evans' moniker on her face during part or all of the time when Defendant Evans trafficked victim number 4, she shared her location via cell phone with Defendant Evans. So that's victim number 4 under Evans, and that goes all the way up to Overt Act 55. When you get to Overt Act 56, they get to talking about the enterprise. Well, I'll jump to Overt Act 73 because that's where victim 5 comes in. Amoako sex tracked victim 5. On an unknown date, victim 5 was branded with tattoo hands secure payments in reference to Defendant Amoako's moniker on her buttocks. So some of these victims are going to be easily identified.
Yeah, but Amoako kind of stupid, bro. You don't even feel for that nigga. Like, whoever Amoako is, he just dumb. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Overt Act 74. On June 21st, 2023, Amoako and victim 5 had an argument. Victim 5 briefly left defendant. Over coded text, Defendant Amoako told victim 5 that she had not given him a chance, implored her to come back, and told her to tell the people who picked her up that he would give them gas money to return her. Victim 5 ultimately replied, "I'm sorry, daddy," quote unquote, and promised that she was not leaving him, preparing for her for more sex work. Defendant Amoako ordered victim 5 would get waxed and have her hair and nails done and that they had a mission to accomplish. So she's victim 5 are all the overt acts up to 78 under Amoako. Then there's another victim, victim 6.
It's gonna be up, man. You know how many? What you mean? Why you say damn like you surprised?
I didn't know
you know how many suspects it is.
Yeah, I didn't. We're reading this fresh. This is
okay.
This is a fresh read, so I haven't read over this.
Yeah, but I know it's a lot of suspects, so it's gonna be a lot of victims.
Yeah, so victim 6 starts at Overt Act 79. In and around July 23, Defendant Robinson sex trafficked victim 7, 16-year-old girl. Overt Act 89. In and around July 23rd, Defendant Robinson had sexual intercourse with the same 16-year-old girl. So the whole section here that starts on page 42 is Robinson and the victim 7, which is a 16-year-old. So that quite possibly could be somebody that we've been hearing rumors about. Victim 7, and then victim 8 is under Defendant Phillips. Phillips directed.
What's P4 last name?
P4 last name is he's Darrell. Let me see. What is his first name? Darrell. I forget his last name. Let me see here. We'll come back to page 42 because I did hear a rumor that P4
because Nova is she 15, not 16.
And this is 2023. How old was she?
She's 15 now.
Okay, I thought she's 15 now. Okay,
I might be wrong. No, I might be wrong.
I remember her being 14, but she could be 15 or 16 now.
Okay,
it's been okay. P4K is Robinson. So
okay,
P4K is Robinson.
Okay,
and these are all alleged, y'all. These are all alleged. So they haven't went to court. Nothing has been proven.
And that 16-year-old is victim what?